Hey, everybody. My question to you today is, do you have a team mindset? Hey, I'm Gunny J. I just want to welcome everybody here. And I really want to talk about this subject. It's part of John Maxwell's REAL, right? Relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. And I think it's really important. I was just thinking about it today. See, one of the things, I'm going to post this up here on the screen for you. One of the things you got to realize is that people who are successful have the ability to recruit, train, and equip other people. Very few people make it or break it by themselves. Even if it's a solo athlete, they have trainers and they have team psychologists. They have all sorts of things that are helping them out. Very few people accomplish something alone. You see what I mean? So if you're going to be successful in life, in any endeavor, you have to be able to, and I don't care if it's a nonprofit or home-based business or brick and mortar or anything else like that, you have to be able to recruit, train, and equip people. You know, one of the things that I really like to bring up, and I'll put this up there for you too. I like this. Let me show that. The first step in building a team, you're going to have to decide if it's worth the effort. Is this a problem? Is this a situation? Is this a challenge that you necessarily want to take on? A lot of people don't like taking it on, which is great for those of us who do, because of those of us who do take this stuff on, we're successful. You see, leadership is influence, right? And the way you gain influence, other than positional influence, positional leadership is I control your paycheck, so you have to do what I say. That's positional leadership. But the other methods of leadership that go beyond that, where people give their heart, mind, soul, and strength to you, where people perform outstandingly for you, where people get together and almost create family, those other types of teams are governed by influence, and that influence is governed by, are you adding value to your people? So as you add value to your people, you gain influence, and as you gain influence, you gain leadership over them. It's a very simple formula, extremely difficult to put into operation. See, I can guarantee you that all methods of adding value to people, all methods of influence are going to require time, energy, and effort. It's just the way it is, man. It is going to take time, energy, and effort. You can't be lazy and be a leader. You can't be lazy and have influence over people. It just doesn't work that way. Hey, Jamie, how you doing? Hey, Jamie, welcome. I think I can even, yeah, there she is. Awesome. So it just doesn't work that way. If you truly want to build a team, you have to be willing to get in there and get your hands dirty and expend the energy and effort. One of the things that you have to be able to do, and I'll post this up there for you here. Is it up there? There we go. Are you willing to subordinate your needs and wants to the team's? See, as you grow in leadership, everybody thinks as you grow in leadership, the more in charge and the more free time and the more all this you have. No, it doesn't work that way, man. I'm sorry there, sweet pea, but the more you grow in leadership, the more of a slave, or the more of a servant would be a better way of putting it, the more of a servant you become. Now, let me give you an example. And you guys might laugh, but that's okay. This is a true example. This is my life right now. I work for a corporation. I work from 10 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. I do that on purpose for two reasons. Number one, it's difficult work, and it's not necessarily, I enjoy the physicality part of the work, but it's not like my career path, if that makes sense. That makes me hungry. So it frees up my morning to pursue what I'm doing right now, which is producing content, affiliate marketing, attraction marketing, those types of things. And one of the policies of this corporation is that they always have peanut butter and jelly and coffee for you. Always, always. There should be, out on the counter, there should be peanut butter, jelly, and coffee. I'm doing outstanding, Jamie. Thanks. So every break or lunchtime or something else like that, when the crew wants a quick snack, they can grab a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, PBJ, and they can grab coffee, and they're good to go. Now, what happens is a lot of times that stuff is not out on the counter. Now, how hard would it be for a manager to check to make sure there's PBJ and coffee for the start of the shift, right? What happens is when they don't do that, they start losing credibility for their team. I know it sounds weird, right? Over PBJ, yeah. You see, even though it's not important maybe to the manager, and maybe though it's not urgent to the manager, it's important to the crew. It shows the crew that the manager of the corporation, whoever cares about them, right? People won't care what you know until they know how much you care. And the manager will lose credibility and they start losing influence over that team. That team doesn't function as well. It's a really good strategy, right? Execution takes strategy, people, and resources. It's a really good strategy to build a little bit of teamwork into this daily grind of this physical labor that we do from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning. So as a leader, you have to ensure whatever your team's PBJ is, you have to be there for them. And it's not going to come with a lot of gratitude. A lot of times they're not going to be thankful for it, or they're not going to express their thankfulness for it. It's just something that your team expects. So whether you're a home-based business or a brick and mortar business, a nonprofit, here, let me put this you have to figure out what is your team's PBJ. What do you have to do on a weekly or a daily basis, right? It can be something as easy as making phone calls out to your team. It could be developing content for your team. Like for my fan page, the Gunny J, I try to develop or at least give them content on a daily basis. It's not always from me, but people come to expect it. And if I don't do that, what happens is I start losing market share, right? They start going somewhere else for that value add, for that influence. And I lose my leadership ability, just like those managers at that corporation I work for lose their credibility. I know it sounds weird and everything else like that, but it is what it is. If you're not out there daily or at least weekly producing content, daily adding value to your team, pretty soon your team structure breaks down. They're not as effective. And if your income depends on your team, dude, you better get a checkup from the neck up and figure out what they need. And don't worry about all the, oh, I'm so thankful for this or I'm so glad for that, because sometimes it's not going to come. It just isn't. You as a leader have to take on the responsibility and serve your team with the PBJs that they need, whatever that may be. The second thing I want to bring up today is, and I'll copy that. Sorry, I like copy and paste. I saw a guy that I admire. His name's Aaron, and he likes doing this. And I thought, man, that is so cool. And so I'm doing that. It also, I don't know where that Y came from, but that's not supposed to be there. Where'd that even come from? That's a bad copy and paste. Hold it just a second. My OCD is kicking in. I don't like that. There we go. So it also takes investing in yourself. Hey, Joe McDonough, how you doing? See you out there. It also takes investing in yourself. See, if you're going to operate at a credible level, then you're teaching, you're training, you're equipping your team. You got to have things to teach. You have to have things to equip them with. You have to have things to train them with. And stuff from 5 or 10 years ago might be too old. It may not work. The leadership that I learned in the Marine Corps, a few years ago, like, 20 years ago now. Oh my gosh. Is it 20? No. Maybe, yeah, well, no, like 22, whatever. 22 years ago. Oh man, I retired in 1998. Somebody do the math for me, because I got 2 brain cells and they're concentrating on speaking right now. So, so the stuff that I learned in the Marine, some of it still applies, but some of it has grown, has evolved. There's other things. Servant leadership has come into being. There's other things, other type of leadership philosophies that have migrated and come to the forefront, in leadership, that I have to be able to stay up on. If you're in affiliate or network marketing or attraction marketing, or you're a home-based business or something else like that, man, market changes daily. You got to stay on top of what the market is doing, and the algorithms for YouTube or for Facebook or for Twitter or for IG or whatever social media platform you use. You got to stay up to date, and you have to stay tapped in as a leader so you can train your team. So you have to constantly be learning, constantly be reading. Sometimes it's self-development, sometimes it's more strategies, or how to employ new tactics or old tactics in a new way. All that stuff is what it takes in order to manage your team or your tribe or your following, right? You have to stay a step ahead of them. You have to. If you don't, the team structure breaks down, the team structure breaks down, the team breaks down. And if your income is derived from teamwork whatsoever, be it downline or a following on a certain social media platform, or how people perform in your brick and mortar business or something else like that, man, once that structure breaks down, now your leadership level has to get lower. Now pretty soon you're a positional leader instead of using influence. It's horrible. And your income goes down. So you got to invest in yourself. So I'm going to leave you with a question here. And I'll probably post it too. I'll post it on here. I'm curious, have you guys ever worked in a cheerful, upbeat team environment? If so, describe your experience. I know I have many examples from the Marine Corps, be it when I was a drill instructor or when I was out in the field. A lot of Marines have that, and honestly, most of the Marines miss that when they go into civilian life, because the ability to, because leadership levels at such a high level in the Marine Corps in many different areas, the level of camaraderie that we had and the level of teamwork was just unsurpassed almost in the civilian world. There's many times at work at night, I wish I just had a whole bunch of Marines in there and we could and we could not get that stuff knocked out and have a ball doing it. So go ahead and feel free if you've had a really cool, hey, Joe, I see it. uh, Feel free to make comments or anything below here. I'm really curious if you've had, you know, an upbeat team, what made it upbeat? What was that special sauce that was in there? Other than that, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for paying attention, and I will talk to you guys later. Genny J is out.